Welcome back, Top Notch Gang, and here we are, Season 6, Episode 7 of The Shy, following up the aftermath and the passing of Pastor Jackson in Season 6, Episode 6. The whole follow-up, everything that went on took place. We're going to do a full review and recap of everything, but also, if you love Power Universe, I dropped a video on Power Book Force this morning of a Season 2, Episode 3 recap and breakdown. You go ahead and check that out as well. But like I said, in this video, Season 6, Episode 7 of The Shy. Ooh, this was a sad one to say the least. Of course, like I said, following the death of Pastor Jackson, a lot of high energy emotions, or should I say low energy, high emotions going out throughout this whole episode, and it was a bit crazy. So we're just gonna dive into everything, all the characters, how I see things going forward, and also take a look back at my expectations and predictions for this episode, because we of course went over and talked about the teaser trailer they gave us, and they had a lot of specific scenes and moments I wanted to point out and see how they played out in this episode. And of course we saw them, of course, not knowing if it was Nuck or not who did it, and he kind of admitted to it or said he did. Not really, but really did within this episode. How Keisha went to Nuck and everything of the sort. Vic wanted to snitch, tell everything Douda, the Q, that whole situation. Jake telling him not to. Of course, in this episode, we got Vic wanting to start a family. We got Keisha and her mom going to therapy, getting over trauma. So a lot that going on within this episode. And funny enough, I don't think we saw a lot of Douda within this episode, but the scenes we did see him, we got a lot of quality, I guess I could say. So once again, we're just gonna go ahead, take a step back and dive into everything we've seen within this episode and what we can also see going into future episodes. Once again, if they already have a trailer out for the mid-season finale, which is episode 8, I'll throw that later in the video. We'll dive into it, talk about what to expect once again. But leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's jump into the full breakdown and recap of Season 6, Episode 7 of The Shy. So, Pastor Jackson's death. Of course, we got a lot of pop of this episode. Him grieving, him sad, him wanting to be alone. He did a lot of things we all said and predicted. Him not wanting to be with the girl anymore because his dad told him he wasn't ready for that responsibility or anything like that. Shout out to her for still coming to the funeral, or arriving before the funeral, whatever that scene was. She still came, but he kind of pushed her away, said he wasn't ready to do all that because that's what his dad wanted. Yeah, of course, earlier in the episode did push Bakari away, blamed him, everything like that, but we see later in the episode they come back together, have a good talk, good conversation about the pastor, and everything seems on the up and up. I actually would do Bakari in this same section with Papa. Now, on the other hand, Bakari, he was breaking down as well, but then he also started crashing out a bit. We actually got him approaching Nuck with the gun early on in this episode, but Nuck told him if he killed him, of course Zay would kill Bakari. So Bakari backed down. He doesn't want to die, obviously, so he decides not to go through with it. But biggest thing that happened with Bakari within this episode, besides the whole funeral, the whole approaching Nuck, is Rashai couldn't hold the guns that Bakari gave him anymore. His girl found the guns, or saw him with the guns, and told him get the shit out this house or he has to go. So he had to go back and give Bakari the guns. Now Bakari not taking the guns to the pastor house, not being that dumb, he had no one else to go, and he gave them to Lene, and she decided to take them in. Now this goes back into the conversation, of course, that Lene had with her brother Jamal, telling him, or him telling her that there's no such thing as just a lookout, he's gonna have her do more, and he was telling her don't get caught up in this shit with Bakari. And now she's way too deep in, it's kind of way too late at this point, and she is holding the guns from, I believe she didn't look what was inside the bag, she doesn't know, but she did decide that she would take the bag from him, and it's filled with guns. So this could turn out really bad for her further down the line, or it might help, who knows. They could pull a twist and this shit could have crazy circumstances and things could change pretty fast. But currently she's taking a big risk and going against everything her brother told her to do. So Bakari, he's sitting between a rock and a hard place. Funny, I said that in this video and the Book Force video, but he really is. He has kind of his back against the wall. He has these problems with Douda, of course, now with Nuck, that whole organization inside. Him and Lene a bit rocky. She still has his back, but ain't the smoothest it has been. He's gonna have problems with her brother Jamal now at this point, because he's putting his own girl in harm's way. He's putting Jamal's sister in harm's way. So he's got a big problem on his hands. That was probably the biggest thing, honestly, that happened within this whole episode, was him giving her the guns, because that's gonna have huge implications later on in the season. Moving on to Emmett, Keisha, and Nuck, because there was something big to look out for within this episode for them. And I want to talk about a prediction you guys made in my comment section of my last video on the Shy, talking about what could possibly be to come for this trio and this little triangle going on. And I might make a whole separate video on it, but you guys was talking about how Keisha could possibly convince Nuck to take out Douda, but might be a stretch at this point. I thought this episode will give us a lot of details, could hint towards that even more, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But within this episode, of course, Keisha and Emmett have been going at it the entire fucking season about Emmett working with Douda, him hiding money, bought a gun into her house, just anything with Douda in general. And we see Emmett wants to get away from Douda. We saw him approach him with a gun, tell him he wants to buy himself out the business, and within this episode he also told his dad that he's gonna try to buy himself out, even though it's gonna cost a lot of fucking money. I believe Douda fucking invested in franchises for his fucking restaurant in New York and all this and that, helped him buy a house, 2 cars, all types of shit. So shit gonna be a lot of money. So Keisha wants the shit done as soon as fucking possible. So she decides to go behind Emmett's back and talk to Nuck. Nuck kind of owes her one, since he kind of, I don't want to say he's the reason, but he played a big part in her getting, of course, kidnapped and that whole situation playing out. So he'll do anything to help and protect her. And she says if he wants to help her, he also has to help Emmett. So I don't know what he's gonna do or what they have planned, but she has Nuck on her side. Emmett doesn't like that, doesn't fuck with it. He approaches Nuck. Nuck kind of talks shit because Keisha didn't tell Emmett this, and Emmett approaches Keisha at the end of the episode telling her if she has a conversation with Nuck again behind his back, then their whole relationship is done. Straight like that. And we also see Keisha within this episode, which is kind of like a lower plot, but she's going to therapy now. She goes to therapy with her mom, actually, and comes to find out her mom never wanted to have kids. They have this whole total breakdown and big therapy session. So this whole episode was kind of in the dumps as far as energy and high as fuck on emotions, like I said, because they had a lot going on with that. So like I said, yeah, she went to therapy, she went and talked to Nuck. Her and Emmett's relationship has been on fucking thin ice this entire fucking season. So I'm just waiting for the fucking coin to flip the other way, because literally the entire season they've been at each other's head. Next up we have, of course, Vic, and in this episode he finally comes out, tells Jake the truth about the whole Q situation, the Douda shit, him helping him dispose of the body. And it's funny enough, he didn't even tell Robb about this part. And another thing is, the Robb and Tiff weren't even in this episode. I was interested to see what happens with Robb, how he reacts to the information, what he does, but maybe we'll find out in the season 6 episode 8, because that's the like mid-season finale. And most shows in general, when they do a mid-season finale, that episode is a fucking banger. And so we got to see how that shit plays out, because Robb wasn't in this entire episode. But back to what I was saying, Vic told Jake everything that happens, and Jake told him keep the shit to himself, don't snitch, he needs him around, people need him in the office, shit like that. And Vic also decides within this episode he wants to start a family, everything like that. And this might be big problems, because the FBI is lurking around, and this nigga trying to start a family, like, right now might not be the time, bro, because you could get caught up. Now you can't raise your kids, shit like that. At least they're gonna have Jake as their uncle. I guess he'll be around, but I think it's just bad timing for him to be trying to start a family with all this other shit going on. And he doesn't need another angle of him being vulnerable. Douda already has this Q shit over his head. He doesn't need something else to hold him back, and this looks like it pretty much will within the next coming episodes. I'm interested to see. You guys let me know down below, when they do this mid-season finale, are they gonna actually take a break, or it's gonna go right back into episode 9 and so on all the way to 16, because sometimes it take like a 2-3 week month break when they do these mid-season finales. So let me know down below in the comments, and I can have some videos prepared, some theories prepared to make for some of these characters and what could happen in the after the mid-season finale. So let me know that down below in the comments as well. But overall, that's pretty much it. This was I want to say like a normal, straightforward episode. We just got a lot of emotional scenes with damn near every character within the show. Definitely with Papa, Bakari, whether the emotions with even Rashad, how mad he was about the shit that went on with Bakari and the guns, that whole situation. But of course, Keisha and her mom, like I mentioned before, going to therapy, everything like that. This was just a high emotional fucking episode, and we got little scenes of Douda and no scenes of Robb, so nothing really popped off. It kind of went back to setting shit up, letting everything simmer. I thought everything fully boiled over when they killed the pastor, but it looked like they reeled things back in and they're taking it slow. But it overall was still a good episode. It's funny because the Shy, all their episodes feel like a big therapy session in general, but this one felt like a whole fucking trauma dump. It was fucking crazy. But once again, you guys let me know if I missed anything within this episode. Let me know your thoughts and predictions for anything that's yet to come that I haven't seen, or that you guys can let me know your prediction down below. But once again, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.